Joining us right now, courtesy of the Window Nation Guest Hotline, our resident baseball general manager, Jim Duquette. What's up, Duke?
What's up, guys? How are you?
Good. Doing well. Right. Doing well. And listen, this is a very, very important offseason for the Baltimore Orioles, not just in my opinion. I think everybody who covers the sport and knows the sport knows that the Orioles have to do something in free agency. We've heard some rumors, but we know you're kind of locked in a little different from us in terms of knowing some of the agents and other general managers. Are the Orioles serious contenders to land any of these top-name, top-notch free agents?
Well, I think that the one area that I'm hearing is, they're in on some of the starting pitching, and that's obviously what they need at this point. So it still remains to be seen if they're willing to pay the exorbitant prices that are out there. I mean, Dylan Cease's signing with the Jays was one of those, expensive ones that makes you pause a little bit if you're a GM, and pretty much any other market. Like, man, that is extremely expensive for, I would say, average results. So, having said all that, I've certainly heard them in on Valdez. They have checked in on pretty much every starting pitcher, not just on the free agent market, but on the trade market. And I think that to me is more significant because, you can get some value. It's going to cost you prospects, as we know, but, they understand. And Michael, I have to give him credit, man. He has been aggressive. I think he's the most aggressive general manager so far. Before the winter meetings, he's done more than most. Now, they had to do a lot, obviously, but yes, they are in on pretty much any starting pitcher at the high end. Whether they're willing to pay the kind of money, on the free agent market, that remains to be seen.
I agree. I think he's been aggressive, and I think I don't know why people criticize him so much. I don't. I mean, I guess it comes with a job, but it's like they're never happy. So let's talk about the moves he has made instead of the ones that he may make.
Sure.
What do you think about picking up your Ward?
Yep.
And then of course Helsley from the Mets.
So I like the Ward pickup in the sense in terms of what he provides. Right, he's got power. He can defend a little bit. He drives in runs. He's a veteran presence in your lineup. He impacts in a positive way the rest of the lineup. Like, those are all things that the Orioles were lacking. Right-handed power, all of that. That kind of production they have not really had in any post. And he's relatively has stayed healthy. I would have liked to had another year of service time for what you gave up in Grayson Rodriguez. But listen, I love Grayson. He hasn't been healthy, as we know. And, I think that if you're going to, view him and what he's capable of doing, that's more than fair. He might end up being a lottery ticket for the Angels. But I would rather, because the Orioles are in win now mode, I'd rather have Ward. I just hope that they're able to extend him or keep him beyond this year. The other one, Helsley, for me, you know what? There's a lot of risk when you're signing relievers, right? Mm-hmm. We just saw Devin Williams sign with the Mets for $17 million a year, basically. And he had what I would say an up and down season with the Yankees, as we saw this year. Helsley, with the exception of the last 2 months, which I saw a lot of them with the Mets, he was not good. Prior to that, he's had a long career as a closer and pitched very well. So I think for what they paid, the value, everything else, I think they did a good job. Now they're going to have to figure out, his arm slot. His fastball has gotten a lot straighter over the last year or so. Some mechanical things are going to have to adjust. But I think in terms of the results for that type of pitcher, I think he's going to be good. He's going to be a lot better than he was in the last 2 months. And I think his track record shows that.
What about the trade markets for pitchers? I was just reading this morning that the Brewers are listing on Freddie Peralta. Hunter Green's name was floated out there. Mackenzie Gore. Right. What do you see happening on the trade market for pitchers?
Yeah, I think, Rob, when you look at like Sandy Alcantara with the Marlins, another one. They have a really good young pitcher, Edward Cabrera, that is interesting too. I kind of, if I'm in the Orioles' shoes or just kind of looking at it, they have done deals, as we know, with Milwaukee. Peralta is absolutely a guy that they will be kicking tires on. I think they're going to be competing with a lot of teams. Mets in particular, their former executive for the Brewers is now running it, right? David Stearns. But Alcantara and Cabrera are both guys that they matched up well, obviously in a trade with Rogers a couple of years ago. So I look to those two in particular. I don't get the sense Hunter Green is available. I did see his name mentioned, but anything I've been able to check in on, for what he signed up to a long-term contract, it's pretty cheap. Doesn't seem like he's going anywhere. But there are names out there, good ones that you can get on the trade market, and I think those are a couple of them. And I wouldn't be surprised if they went back down the road because of that familiarity. Those teams clearly like the Orioles farm system, so there may be a match there.
Jim Duquette joins us. Before we get you out of here, Jim, because I know you have a show to do as well, Baseball Hall of Fame has a contemporary era committee that's meeting on Sunday to consider some players for the ballot. Among those players are Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens. Being that former GMs and current media members are part of that committee, what are the chances that you think Bonds and Clemens make it to Cooperstown?
Boy, that one, it was so divisive, that those two guys in particular, right? There was, I forget the highest vote. I don't think they might have gotten a little over 50%, both of them from the previous writers, right? But not much more than that. Find it hard to believe that the current Hall of Famers have been pretty clear that if you were found to be part of the steroid era and, you tested positive or there's evidence to suggest it. And those two guys in particular, there's at least circumstantial evidence, from the Mitchell report, and Bonds obviously, has had that history as well. I don't believe they're going to get enough votes with this committee, just based off of the Hall of Famers that are involved, never mind, some of the other executives. So I would be surprised if they get in. Listen, they were Hall of Famers before they were using PEDs, in my opinion. I thought Clemens was one of the best pitchers in the sport, and Bonds was the best player. But because of what they have done, they've had to pay the price. If I had a vote, I would vote for both of them. But I don't get a vote right now.
It's a damn shame Clemens' wife doing steroids is going to sink his career. Isn't that what it did? Wasn't the story that he had it sent to his wife and his wife's name to the house?
Yeah.
And I still say
supposedly Brian McNamee injected her too, but she wasn't. Last time I don't think I saw her pitch. Did you ever see her pitch as an amateur?
I never saw her pitch.
She never made it to the majors.
Right.
Hey, Jim, thanks a lot, my man.
All right, guys, you got it. Talk to you soon.
I still say MasterCard All-Century team is what changed Barry Bonds. And Ken Griffey Jr. and Mark McGwire, who were hitting home runs at the time, they made it. He did not. And in my opinion, he was the better ball player.
Yeah.
But both of them, because he wasn't hitting home runs, he didn't make the team. I think that changed everything.
He's still he's the greatest hitter I've ever seen. And with all due respect to what we're seeing from some of the guys today, need to see Ohtani and some of these guys do it longer. But until I see that, Barry Bonds is the best hitter I've ever watched.
Chris Mack from Wild 108 Pittsburgh joins us at 9:30. But on the other side, Jeremy Cohn, is all you.
Yeah, I went 2 and 3 in my top plays last night. Guess what? Cornell played. Guess what? The game went over. Guess who plays today? Cornell. We'll talk about them in a few minutes.
Tournament?
Huh?
The tournament?
They're playing Towson today. I don't know if it's a smaller tournament or if it's just the way that this schedule was set up.
You said Towson was favored?
Towson is favored in this game, yeah. Cornell's on a back-to-back, so I'm assuming that's why you could get a tired Cornell team. So you get a tired Cornell team that doesn't play defense already. I wonder how that defense is going to look today. We'll give you the college plays. There's some really good matchups, a couple of NBA plays. I have one NHL play that I think goes over the total. We'll do all that when we come back right here on The Fan.
After the big